Well, I'm going to begin by asking, I mean, you've obviously dealt with so many different historical issues in Horrible Histories and different parts of history. I mean, as a feature film debut, why did you opt for Shakespeare in this particular kind of story to base the film around?
I think there was sort of two things. One, it's a character that you don't have to spend a lot of time sort of setting up and introducing and going, this is what he did, this is who he was. As soon as you say the word Shakespeare, people, wherever they are in the world, know who he is, and they've got that immediate reference. But also, his life has got a really convenient black hole in it that people know. History knows where he was when he was, a young married father living in Stratford, and they then know that later in life he ended up as a burgeoning playwright in London, but no one knows what happened between the two. So it's like this tantalising little hole that you can put anything into, and no one can say, well, that didn't happen. I mean, it's unlikely that what we're saying happened, but it was
you never know.
Yeah.
So what are the sort of challenges that come with crafting a screenplay for a feature-length movie then, and ensuring that this doesn't feel like a long episode of a TV series? How do you go about?
Yeah, that's it. Well, I think just lots of story. I mean, and the story has to be engaging. So but the added thing was that we wanted to make sure all of us had a sort of leading part. So that became quite complicated. And so there's an awful lot to cram in to 90 minutes. We're not short of plot or character. So I don't think from the start, I don't think it ran the risk of being too sketch-like.
Yeah, but I mean, we were constantly checking ourselves and double checking ourselves and working with our director, and on the the plot, and just trying to make sure it's as watertight as possible, but also taking inspirations from other multi-character capers. We talked a lot about like The Fish Called Wanda, for example, which has that lots of different leads and a real kind of twisting circular plot. And so, a lot of kind of lot of research in that way as well.
I mean, it's something that you guys have obviously completely got to it down to a T. But I mean, is it still a challenge for you to remain kind of funny and irreverent, and yet at the same time still stay just on the right side of history, that it is educational for the younger members of the audience?
Yeah.
I mean, this one was we kind of let this one. We let the backdrop be the history. We tried to make the world feel very real, and we kind of so everything behind the story is quite factually accurate, and the bookends of the film, I say in terms of Bill's life, where he was in Stratford and where he ended up, are true. But everything between that, we kind of threw the history away a little bit. We just wanted to try and tell the most fun and entertaining story we could in 90 minutes. So in that sense, we sort of didn't feel constrained by history at all.
You have several actors in your sort of troupe. I mean, how do you go about assigning the parts? Did people put in requests for certain roles or audition, or was it almost like, have you seen the beginning of Captain Phillips?
Yes, yeah.
When like they have to choose the pirate, it's almost like that. You go, right, you today.
I suppose it's kind of like that.
It is a little bit like that. But we didn't show the screenplay to the guys until we felt it was good enough to show them. So it was sort of around draft 2. And by then, between us, we'd sort of knew, because we know them so well, that as we were writing it, we thought, actually, that should be Matt, that should be Simon, Jim, definitely. Obviously, Martha's a given.
I don't know, Jim gives Martha a run for her money in the female roles these days. He's very keen to.
But yeah, it broke down that way. I think what we're writing now is a bit more tricky. Yeah,
no, our current project's slightly more difficult. But with Bill, there were certain characters you wrote the first line, like with Croydon, for example. There he is. The first line that we wrote, we went, well, that's Simon.
It could not, be Simon.
Because it could not be Simon.
You just mentioned another project. Is that one you're happy to talk about at the moment, or is it quite early stages of development?
We're really happy to talk about it, but unfortunately, we're not allowed to. It's very funny. We can say that much.
And in regards, you're saying also when you're writing the part, obviously you're both starring in the movies yourself. When you're writing lines for yourself, do you ever have to maybe tone it down and say, I don't want to give myself all the funny lines, just in case the others might get...
Well, this is the thing. No. But I think Ben's cleverer than me. Well, I mean, we've established that years ago. But I think Ben, as soon as we started writing, and Philip came up with such a great character and was sort of based on an existing character.
It was very much based on a character I used to do years ago. So I had the sort of voice and the mannerisms, and I knew what I wanted him to be, and Philip just fitted very nicely into those characteristics. So we were writing it, and I was just doing the voice. So and I find it a lot easier to write from a character point of view. So it was a joy.
I got to the end of the movie and went great, and we finished that script and we finished that final draft, and it's great. And then I sort of went, oh, hang on, who do I play? which was really stupid thing to do. But I mean, thankfully, Ben had written me some nice lines as Walsingham. So.
Yeah, there you go.
My final question, I'm just wondering, I mean, obviously when you write something that appeals to both adults and children alike, do you have to work as a kind of test audience yourselves, and do you have to find it funny for it to go in, or are there ever any lines that you think, well, that one's for the kids and I don't really find it funny, or do you always need to find it funny for it to work?
We deliberately never do that. We never put something in that we think someone else is going to like. Every line, every gag we have to really love, and sometimes there's some that you have to fight for, and there's moments where you go, no, we're sure that once we shoot that and perform that the right way, that's really funny and we can make that work. Or there'll be a line which you go, I know that every now and then there's moments where you go, that's going to be perfect once it's that actor, once it's Simon doing that line as Croydon, it's just going to work. But it's always about what we find funny.
Yeah, I never put something in that I thought I had to. I think that way madness lies. Is that from a Shakespeare? Sounds like it is.
Oh,
Could
hey,
be
put
from
me-
Bill.
I'm going to look it up.
it's from the wonderful movie Bill.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys!
Hey You Guys, huh?
Hey, you guys.
Is that from the Goonies?
It is indeed, yeah.
Nice.
Hey,